Good day everyone, we are the Group 1 and today we will present our topic on contemporary global governance. Our discussion will focus on four main topics. First is what is global governance? Next is the institution that govern international relations. Third, the roles and functions of the United Nations and globalizations. Fourth is internationalism versus globalism. Before we dive into these main points, let us first understand why this matters so much. We live in an age where countries, economies, and societies are more interconnected than ever before. The internet, the rapid transportation, international trade, and global media have brought nations closer together. At the same time, we face shared challenges that do not respect borders, issues like climate change, tourism, global health emergencies like COVID-19, economic crisis, migrations, cyber threats, and environmental disasters. No single country, no matter how powerful, can solve these problems alone. This is where global governance becomes essential. It is a framework that encourages corporations, dialogue, and collective actions to address issues that affect of all humanity. Global governance also reflects the changing nature of power in the 21st century. While nation states remain important, they now can share the global stage with international organizations, multinations, corporations, NGOs, regional alliances, and even individuals. In this new world, governance is not about a single authority, but about networks of cooperation that create roles and systems for peaceful and fair interaction among nations. As we go through these presentations, we will explain how institutions like United Nations, World Trade Organizations, WHO, or help maintain order and stability, how globalization has shaped governance, and why debates around internationalism and globalism matter. By understanding these dynamics, we can see the importance of working together to build a more just, sustainable, and peaceful world. With that, let's just us begin.
What is global governance? Global governance refers to the way countries and international actors cooperate to solve problems that cross national borders. Unlike a government that has authority within one state, global governance does not have a single ruler. Instead, it relies on collaboration, negotiation, and shared responsibility. For example, climate change, pandemics like COVID-19, terrorism, migration, and poverty cannot be solved by one country alone. They need joint solutions that involve multiple nations and organizations. We can think of it like a group project. Each member may have their own task, but everyone must work together to achieve the same goal. In the same way, global governance ensures that the world manages challenges collectively. In short, global governance means how the international community manages common problems together through cooperation and mutual agreements.
The institutions that govern international relations. Several institutions are central to global governance, and they serve different roles in managing the world affairs. First, the UN, or the United Nations, which promotes peace, cooperations, and human rights. Second, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, which provides financial stability and assistance to struggling economies. Third, the World Trade Organization, WTO, which ensures that trade among nations is fair and follows agreed rules. Lastly, regional organizations like the European Union, EU, and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, which strengthens cooperations among nearby countries. Each institution has its own focus. For example, during an economic crisis, the IMF steps to provide loans and stabilize the markets. During natural disasters in Asia, ASEAN works to coordinate regional response. The UN, on the other hand, often serve as a mediator in global conflicts. These institutions are like the organs of the global systems, each playing a part in keeping international relations running smoothly.
The roles and functions of the United Nations to globalization. The United Nations plays a major role in globalization, and its functions are very broad. Let us highlight the five key roles. First, peace and security. The UN sends peacekeepers to conflict zones to prevent wars from escalating. For example, UN forces have been deployed in Africa and the Middle East. Second, the human rights. Through the Human Rights Council, the UN works to protect dignity, equality, and freedom worldwide. Third, sustainable development. The UN promotes sustainable development goals per SDGs, which aim to end poverty, provide quality education, and protect the environment by 2030. Humanitarian aid. In times of disasters such as typhoons, earthquakes, or refugees crisis, the UN delivers relief food and shelter to affected communities. International cooperation. The UN serves as platform for global dialogue, allowing leaders of nations to meet, negotiate, and resolve conflicts. For instance, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the United Nations coordinated the vaccine sharing program and the mobilized funds for recovery, and the UN also plays a vital role in climate action by organizing global agreements like Paris Climate Accord. This shows the UN is not just institution of peace, but also deliver development, security, and global cooperation.
Challenges of global governance in the 21st century. Even though global governance is important, it is far from perfect. It faces several serious challenges in the 21st century. Nationalism and populism. Many countries now prioritize self-interest, making cooperation difficult. For example, some governments refuse to participate in international agreements. Unequal power distribution. Powerful nations sometimes dominate global decision-making, leaving smaller nations with less influence. Complex and new issues. Global terrorism, cybercrime, and pandemics. And the climate change are harder to manage because they evolve quickly. Legitimacy issues. Some people argue that institutions like UN and IMF do not equally represent the voices of all nations. One clear example is climate agreements. Even if the majority of nations agreed on reducing emissions, progress is slowed when powerful countries refuse to commit. These challenges remind us that while global governance is necessary, it requires reform, trust, and stronger cooperation to be truly effective.
The relevance of the state amid globalization. Some people say globalization has weaknessed the state, but in the reality, the state remains highly relevant. First, state control. Their authority enforce laws and provide national security. Second, they collect taxes and deliver service like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Third, state represent their citizens in the global forums such as national nations and regional summits. A strong example was seen during COVID-19 pandemic. Even though the virus was a global problem, it was the individual state that enforced lockdown, managed vaccination program, and controlled borders. This shows that globalization does not erase the role of the state. Instead, it makes state but the protectors of their own citizens and participants in the global cooperation. The state and global governance must work hand in hand.
Internationalism and globalism. Finally, let us compare internationalism and globalism. Internationalism means cooperation among sovereign states. In this view, countries remain independent but work together on shared goals such as trade, environment, and peace. Example, the Paris Agreement on climate change, where each country makes its own pledge but works collectively, and globalism, on the other hand, sees the world as one community. It emphasizes global citizenship beyond nationality, example, worldwide campaign or human rights, gender equality and climate action. Movement led by youth activists. To make it simple, internationalism is about cooperation between nations, while globalism is about unity beyond nation. Both approaches are important because they guide how we see the world and how we respond to our global challenges.
Conclusion. To conclude, our discussion has shown in the following. Global governance is how the world manages shared problems through cooperation. Institutions like the UN, IMF, WTO, and the regional groups are essential in international relations. The United Nations plays the vital role in peace, right, development, humanitarian aid, and cooperation. However, global governance faces challenges such as nationalism, unequal power, and complex global threats. Despite globalization, the state remains highly relevant in ensuring security, service, and representation. Finally, we learned that internationalism emphasizes cooperation in states while globalism emphasizes unity beyond states.